First question I got for you, hopefully the hardest thing I ask you all day. Can you say and spell your name for me and what I should put as your title?
It's Lisa Posthumus Lyons, Lisa Posthumus Lyons, no hyphen. And I'm the Kent County Clerk and Register of Deeds.
So we're talking about August primaries. Voting is on a lot of people's minds right now, but I think a lot of the time when they think vote, they think November. A lot of time they think presidential or they think big races. But why is it important to shift that thinking?
We want to encourage all of our registered and eligible voters to come out and vote every election. In Michigan, we have 3 election dates, and that's May, August, and November. And then in a presidential year, we'll have a presidential primary election thrown in there as well. I can't emphasize enough that every election is important. In this primary election, it'll be August 2nd. There's a lot of races that I think people are familiar with, but more so in November. But this is where we nominate the major parties' candidates for important races from governor all the way on down to county commission. There'll be precinct delegates on the ballot as well, and that's in every jurisdiction where these individuals who are elected go and they represent. Can I start over? I'm really sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no, you got no worries.
I think I was
editing is a magic thing. You know,
Awesome.
This will be running Sunday too, so I've got time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, this August 2nd primary election is an important election, no different than any other election that we vote in say November. Michigan has 3 election dates, and that's in May, August, and November. They're all important because they all impact our voters in different ways. Voters are going to see on their August ballot candidates for races from governor on down to county commission. They're going to see local races such as precinct delegates, but there's also really important tax proposals that our voters in Kent County are going to see. And we want to make sure that voters are aware of these. And so it's just really important that we're starting to talk about what's going on, what voters are going to see on their ballots.
A lot of the time, people will see changes happen, whether it's in property tax or in where district lines fall or anything like that, and wonder, where did this come from? Why didn't I get a say in this? Do a lot of those decisions come from the August votes?
So this year is unique in that this is the first election after our 2020 census redistricting. And so redistricting occurred at the congressional and legislative levels, and it also occurs at your county commission level. So our voters are going to see that their district lines have changed, their district numbers have changed, and so we're doing our best to make sure that we are educating the public on redistricting and how that impacts our folks. But really also impacting them is the tax proposals, that will be on the ballot. And in Kent County, voters will see 2 countywide proposals. There's a renewal question for our senior citizens services, and there's a renewal question for our veterans services. So every voter in Kent County will have that on their ballot. There's 5 townships that have a tax proposal relating to fire, public safety, emergency services. One city, the city of Kentwood, has a parks, trails, and recreation tax question. And then we have 3 school proposals. And not every voter is going to have that. It just depends on where they live in their jurisdiction. So we like to encourage people to go to kentcountyvotes.com, and you'll find out if your jurisdiction has a tax proposal on your ballot, if it's a renewal, a new question, or an increase. You'll find out your polling locations. You can request an absentee ballot. We just want our voters to be as informed as possible.
And those proposals, those are August only. It's one of those that you can't really wait until November for it, right?
Right. So in this August primary election, we do have several proposals on the ballot. There's 2 countywide proposals. They're millage renewals for senior citizen services and veteran services. We have 5 townships that have fire, public safety, and emergency services. It's Ada, Cannon, Grand Rapids Township, Lowell, and Tyrone Townships. And then we have Grant, Tri-County, and Wayland school districts that have a proposal on the ballot. Those proposals are August only. You may see a proposal, a tax proposal or another statewide proposal come on the ballot in November, but we don't know what those are. The deadlines for those haven't occurred yet. So the opportunity to have your say and make your voice heard on these tax proposals is in August.
So you can't just think, oh, it's going to be on the ballot, I'll wait to vote on it in November. This is your chance.
This is your shot.
And then we talked about redistricting a little bit and how it's going to be impacting certain lines. For somebody who might not know where their boundary falls, if they aren't sure, if they are in a new district, if they're going to be voting even for a new representative in Congress, how can they find that information out?
We want voters to be as informed as possible when it comes to making decisions that impact them, whether it's candidates or tax proposals. You can find that information at kentcountyvotes.com, but also very importantly, as a result of redistricting, local clerks will be mailing out to every registered voter in the voter list what's called a voter information card. And that goes to the voters, and it has their polling location. It has the information in terms of what school district they live in, what congressional, legislative, and county commission districts they live in. It's really important information. But equally important is this is a chance that we have to help clean up our voter rolls as well. People may move out of state and not inform the local clerk that they've left. And so they are in the voter file because we have no information that they are no longer here in Michigan. So if a voter information card comes to your residence and it's under a name of somebody who maybe previously has lived there, please send that voter card back to the local clerk so that they can process that in our voter list and get to work cleaning up those voter rolls.
So it's important not to just toss that in the junk drawer or throw it away. You should RTS that immediately.
That's right. These voter information cards are not, they don't go to forwarding addresses. They will go to the residence where there's a voter registered to vote. And if a person does not live there, say they moved a long time ago or recently, we need those voter information cards sent back to our local clerks so that they can make sure our voter rolls are cleaned up, our list is accurate, and that we're having secure and accurate and transparent elections.
And then talk to me about, registration numbers, absentees. What is the deadline for that? If people want to get a ballot in the mail, if, COVID is still around, people aren't necessarily comfortable going to the polls, or if they have to work on, that August 2nd date, whatever it might be, how are numbers looking, and what do people need to know if they aren't, if they haven't done everything they need to do yet?
We want people to cast their ballot and make their voice heard any way that they're comfortable, whether that's in the polls on election day or voting absentee. And in Michigan, we have no reason absentee voting as a result of 2018's Proposal 3. So a registered voter can request an absentee ballot at for any reason at any time. Those absentee ballots need to be returned to the clerk's office by 8 o'clock close of polls on election day. Michigan also, as a result of 2018 Proposal 3, we have same day voter registration as well. So if you have not registered to vote and you wake up and it's election day or it's the day before and you want to make sure that you vote, you can have that opportunity to go to your local clerk's office and register to vote for this upcoming election.
Wonderful. Lisa, those really are all of the questions that I have. Anything else that you think I've forgotten to ask or anything you want to add?
One thing that's really important about primary elections is that unlike in a November election where voters can split their ticket, they can vote for a Republican in one race, a Democrat in another, a third party or independent in a different race. Primary elections, you must stay in your lane, we like to say. So you cannot cross your ballot. You can't cross vote from different parties. You need to pick a party and stay in that lane in order for your ballot to count.
Wonderful. I guess off of that, if someone views themselves as an independent, what options are available for them? Would they be voting on a third party ballot, or do they have to pick from the two majors?
That's a good question. Michigan is not a voter register, sorry, that's a good question. Michigan is not a party registration state. So when you register to vote, you don't have to declare a party necessarily. In fact, I think that's something that I think Michigan voters appreciate their autonomy and their independence. But when it comes to voting in a primary, while you don't have to be a member or a registered voter of a certain party, you do have to decide whether you're going to participate in the Republican primary election or the Democratic primary election. And then once you pick that, it's in this election will be the same ballot. They're just on different lanes of each other. Once you pick that side for this particular election, any vote you cast for a candidate has to remain within that party.
And then I have to assume whether you pick Democrat or Republican, the same ballot issues like those millages will show up.
That's correct. That's just staying in your lane and voting for a candidate in a primary election for one party or another is simply for the partisan section. The millage proposals, tax questions, things like that, those go on what's called a nonpartisan section. And those questions are for anybody and everybody. So if you don't want to vote in the Republican primary or the Democratic primary, but you want to vote on a tax question in your jurisdiction, you do not have to vote in the partisan section for candidates. You can go straight down to the nonpartisan section and vote for those races for the tax questions.
Wonderful. Those really are all the questions I have. If you've got nothing else, I'll go ahead and stop my recording.
That sounds good. Thanks, Justin.